Good morning, everyone, and afternoon for some. Welcome to the Google and Cloudy Cluster training session that's a part of the HackHPC at ADMI22 Symposium / Hackathon for this week. If you can believe it, the hackathon is actually starting on Thursday. We have but few days to rest up, caffeine up, hydrate, and get ready for the hackathon. But today, we have a special presenter, Mr. Boyd Wilson, who will be presenting on Google and Cloudy Cluster as a hands-on session. Now, for those of you that are joining us that want to play at home, inside of the chat box, there is a link for the hands-on lab. I'm just going to paste that in there again for everyone. You do want to go ahead and log in, I'm assuming, Boyd. But before I take his fire, his thunder, his, dare I say, excitement, I will hand the floor over to my fellow organizer, brother, and family friend, Mr. Boyd Wilson. Boyd, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Let me share my screen here. And when you log into the chat, not the chat, the link in chat, you will see that you'll get to this Omnivon creating an HPC environment in Google Cloud page. And to make sure you're logged in, make sure that Start Lab button is green. Don't hit it, because then you got an hour and 30 minutes. But we'll get there in a second. But let me know if everybody got there. This is a very, turn off your mic, pretend we're in the same room together, and we're going to talk. And Jamie will yell at me if I'm missing something in chat, or Amy or someone. Let me get that chat.
I won't yell. I will gently remind.
Gently remind. Stop yelling. Can everybody get there? Can everybody see that?
My button is not green though.
So up at the top right, you have to log in.
Okay.
As some sort of Google account, like Gmail, or you can even set up a Quick Labs account. But if generally people have it, so go over there and do the login, and then it should show green. Is that showing green for you?
I was able to log in.
Yes.
Yeah, they weren't there to you.
Yes. Okay, good. So everybody is green. And you're more than welcome just to sit through this. This lab will actually stay active, this classroom, until the 6th of April. So, you can go through it now, you can go through it again. And when you log in, I'll show you that in a second. But this is active until the 6th. So you can go through it, and you can actually share with other people. I think there's like 50 of these things available. So we wanted to make this available so people want to do it leading up to the hackathon, and just in general, so people could use it. Okay, so I do have one slide. I lied, Jimmy. So what we are going to do today is we're going to create in Google Cloud, and we're going to set up all the things around it, a fully operational high-performance computing cluster. You'll get a login node, there'll be a NAT gateway, and behind that, there'll be a virtual private cloud, and inside of that, you're going to get a scheduler instance, and you'll get some parallel storage, and you actually get a cloud storage bucket, and then we'll spin up dynamic compute, and we'll do a little MPI prime HPC job if everything goes well. So that's kind of what we're going to do. And there's some Google Cloud setup things that we're going to do in the beginning. And I'll talk you through those things. And again, stop me. If you're stuck, or if you have a question, just ask. Pretend we're in the same room. And that this isn't a real formal situation. Just interrupt. And So then now everybody's got the green button here.
Yes, sir.
We will start the lab. And you have
Right.
to prove you're not a robot. And this is why I do it live, because where are the palm trees? I saw some of those just earlier this week.
Let's see if I can
Okay.
pass Turing test again. There we go.
And if you'll notice, is everybody up to this next screen where how much this lab costs? Everybody should have 5 credits. I went through this twice, so I'm down to 3 credits. So you get 5 times to run through this per email address. And then, like I said, we have like, I think 40 or 50 emails are enabled for this classroom.
Well,
Everybody see this screen? Or-
didn't want to start my lab.
Okay, so if
Yes,
you back up here, is there a are you logged in as an account?
I'm logged in my Gmail account.
And then the start lab button doesn't work.
Well, it's on green, and
Okay.
it shows 5 credits when I.
Okay, yeah. And then, okay, and then so it shows 5 credits. So you're at this screen. Okay, you're good.
No, well. Okay.
Oh, now notice what happened right there. It turned red. Some little captcha timed out. CAPTCHA. So I have to prove I'm not a robot again.
I didn't have to do that, but I guess
Well, that's good. It just doesn't like me.
doesn't like you.
Maybe that's a hill. Maybe not. This is.
I don't know why everybody else does.
I guess they're training their AI.
And
So I'm
we-
going to launch with 1 credit, so I don't have to train their AI anymore. And now the timer starts ticking. So everyone got to this page?
So no timer ticking.
Okay, I see 1 check mark. And I'm there as well.
Okay.
Al, were you about to say something?
Yeah, which launch button should we pick? There's 2 launch buttons.
You want to choose the one under the credit. I can bring it.
Launch with the 1 credit, if I remember.
Give me 1 second. I'll bring it up in another window.
Yeah, I don't have a token, so I figured it's either launch with 1 credit or ask you for a token.
It doesn't show you have a token.
Oh, no, you can click launch with 1 credit. That's perfectly fine.
Launch with 1 credit, yeah. Yeah, launch with 1 credit.
Okay, my timer's clicking.
Okay, awesome.
Yuck.
Any other?
I'm gonna start again.
Okay. For the rest of you, if you wouldn't mind, just so that Boyd knows where we are, could you please give us a thumbs up, thumbs down if you are good to go? So down in the bottom under reactions, if you'll go ahead and click the thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm going to paste the link in chat one more time for this hands-on lab so that you can, of course, use that in the chat of Zoom. Okay, I see a few of them. Good, good, good. And everyone's able to see the chat for Zoom, I'm assuming. I forgot we're also in Hoover, so some people may not see it. So what I'm going to do is in Hoover, I'm going to go to that chat as well. And I'll paste it there and make sure there's nothing else there. Good, 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 good. Okay. Yes, I'll
Those
paste.
have a Quick Labs YouTube membership.
Yeah, it should just let you, you have to use that link. And if you use that link, it should, now you have to use the,
So at this point, we just need the page to show?
yeah, the page and the timer ticking down.
Oh, okay.
So you've started the lab and the timer ticking down. That's all we need right now.
And apparently Dr. Caldwell threw a shoe at you.
Mine is grayed out, so it's not ticking.
Okay, and then over here on the right, are you logged in as a Google account?
Oh, you have to log in as a Google. I'm logged in as a Gmailer.
Yeah, Gmail should work.
Yes.
I'll sign out and try again.
Boyd, if you'd like to, for people that are having issues, I can either take them I can create some breakout rooms to assist them, and or they could actually share their screen, whichever one you prefer.
Yeah. Yeah,
I have
whichever.
a question. Should
Yeah.
we launch with a 1 credit or launch with token?
Launch with
with
one
one
credit.
I think I saw someone else join. I'm just adding that.
Okay, it's working now.
Okay.
Excellent. So you want to start. First, Google account. Ooh, that's supposed to be a shift enter, not an enter. Try that again here. Account. Start.
Launch with one credit.
Launch with 1 credit. All right, now add that to the chat. To the Hoover chat as well. All right,
Are we good?
Dr. Caldwell, do we get the shoe again? Are we good to go?
I'm good.
All right. Okie doke. And so if you'll notice over to the left here, there's another GCP username and another GCP password. Now, one of the things that, so we'll get to those in a minute, but I just want to make sure you see that, because that's how you're going to log into the console to actually do the lab when we get to that point. As I said before, we're going to go through these various steps. I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about them, but then we'll kind of dig in. So we're going to set up Cloud Firestore, and Cloud Firestore is kind of like the database and the metadata behind Cloudy Cluster, HPC environment, keeps track of everything. Then we're going to set up a project-wide SSH key, and then we're going to use Google Cloud Shell to set up various things, and then we're going to go through and launch Cloudy Cluster, and then we're going to configure the control instance, which is the kind of main control UI, and then we're going to set up an HPC environment, and then there's actually like a 15-minute spin-up process there, so where people can catch up and we can talk and we can go over some things, and then we'll get into an HPC job. We'll do an MPI prime job. And then if we have time, we'll show you how to delete the environment and everything. So that's the goals for today. And so there are a couple of prereqs, but I'll walk you through it. And like just creating a virtual machine, but that's okay. We'll show you how to do that as part of this. And then, and if you notice, this lab is here, I'm going through it. So you can come back later, you can look at this, you got those 5 tries with that email, and if you want more, you can go to another email. If you want a credit or something, you actually can sign up for credits for Quick Labs with your academic email addresses and get a bunch of credits. So, you know, these are things that can be used for classes and others. So how you want to start the lab. One of the things that they recommend is if you're using Google Chrome to start another incognito window. I'm not going to do that for mine because I want it all in the same tab. I don't think you can put incognitos in. Actually, never tried that. I don't think you can put them in the same browser window. But incognito prevents you from it automatically switching to your other Gmail account. So it's like you need one Gmail account to get into the lab, and then you're going to switch to this other Gmail account. if that makes sense. So then let's go ahead and open the Google console over here on the left. And you can say open link in Cognito window. In window, do you all see my pop-up window when I do that?
No, no, no.
Nope.
You'd have to share
Okay.
your whole desktop. in
Okay,
order for us to
so
see that.
if you right click on that open Google console window, one of the things in there is open link in an incognito window if you're using Chrome. If you're not using Chrome, don't worry about it. You'll see it happen to me, then you'll see you have to switch your user sometimes back in and out on the right. So let's go ahead and open the console. So then it automatically populates it with that student, which is yours is different than mine. So don't try to type in mine. And then what you want to do is grab that password just by saying copy, clicking on the copy thing, and then hit next after you get to that sign in. And then paste the password. And it'll look something like that, but don't use the same one as I did. And then you have to accept the terms. And I'm saying, so is everybody able to launch and get into this?
And just for reference, if you're able to see your Hoover window, I'm making note of the different steps so you can reference them if needed. And just a reminder, when you're logging in, log in with that GCP username and GCP password.
I'm going to agree and continue.
No,
So-
another profile.
Is everybody able to get to, and if you're not presenting, I recommend two windows side by side, but I will be flipping back and forth. So everybody made it to this screen.
And Christopher, I know you just I want to make sure that you're caught up with this. Are you okay?
So where do I find the username and password again?
So once you log into the lab, so you log into the lab with any Google account you have, Gmail or whatever, school account, as long as it's a Google Suites account. Once you log in there, the GCP username and GCP password will be displayed over on the left-hand side underneath where it says in. So once you click Start Lab, once you click Start Lab, then it'll show GCP username and GCP password as you see on Boyd's screen there.
Okay.
And then you just click on open in Google console. If you're running in Chrome, I recommend doing it in an incognito window.
I didn't because I'm a thug, but you can hear, as you can tell. No, we can, but then you can copy and paste the username and password.
Yeah, and then that'll take you to this screen.
He says as he has his off-brand Lego Devastator Lego set next to him.
So everybody to this screen now?
Can we get some
Yes,
thumbs up?
board, I
Yes.
made it, I made
Yes.
it, I made it,
I'm there.
Awesome.
Good.
made it.
Good, good. I see thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. That Nicole keeps throwing the shoe at you. I don't know what that's about, Boyd, but I think you should apologize.
I'm so sorry. I'm used to dodging them, but anyway. Okie doke. So I'm going to scroll down, and again, you can play along at home by having separate windows. So you've already signed in, you've got the console. One of the things they show here is this is the Google console. And if you click here, here is everything. I'm going to take a second to walk through this, but I also want to make sure we get through the lab. There's something called IAM and admin. IAM is how you do security in Google Cloud. And it's actually very similar, but different to how you do security in AWS. Azure is a little bit different, but everything can have permissions to everything in this. And it's a very detailed permissions level. So we'll actually set up some automated stuff as part of this from the command line. So you don't have to go in and type everything. But that's where you give people rights to launch instances or give permissions to, basically give permissions to any of these things. Compute engines is where you spin up virtual machines. And the disk storage and everything associated with those virtual machines is all done in here. Cloud storage is essentially, you'll hear the word object storage used a lot. And if you're in AWS, it's called S3. This is cloud storage. And there's a browser. And then there's some networking things. We'll actually dynamically set up a VPC network. You won't have to do it by hand. And then there's BigQuery and SQLs and all kinds of crazy stuff. And we're going to have to dig into a few other things and set them up. But this is how you get to everything in it. And if you're looking for something specific, the search bar up here, we looked at IAM from the menu. You can also get to it from here just by typing. So if you remember what you're looking for and you can't find it in the menu, type. And it's actually, I end up using typing more than I do the menu. So this little button right up here that you see in this square box is what's called the Cloud Shell. And this will give you a little terminal window, actually a little tiny VM. And it pops up right down there on the bottom. Go ahead and click that.
Wait
Oh,
a
It asks
minute.
you if you want to continue.
Oh, boy, so I want,
So up at the top,
Right
you
up.
have a search bar. To the right of it, there's a little white square with a greater than sign and an underscore that if you hover over it, it actually says activate cloud shell. That's what you're looking at clicking.
Yeah, it's
Right.
right there on that.
Left is a little circle with a question mark.
oh, boy. One more time.
So then in the top bar, in the top blue bar, to the right of the search field, you'll see three little icons. One's a little square with a caret
Yes.
in it.
See it,
That's where I want you to click.
activate Cloud Shell,
There we go.
continue. Got it.
Then you can say got it.
I don't see that.
Okay, so right up here, you don't see a little square that says activate Cloud Shell, or just has a little greater than with a underscore in it.
Ah, okay, I see that.
Yeah. Again, there's kind of highlighted in if you're looking at the thing, that's it right there. Now, notice some of the UI has changed, so there's no question mark when you get in it because they sneak in changes now and again in the UI. We have to go update screenshots with the Google team.
By the way, what he's showing is if you scroll down, it's on the Omnibon creating an HPC environment in Google Cloud with cloudy clusters on the screen where you started the session and open the console. He's scrolling down that page. And right now he is at Activate Cloud Shell, that title.
Yes, right here. Yes, and that's how you can play along. Each one of these things, I'm using this as my prompt, so I'm following the lab to tell y'all what to do. So
Yep. Okay. Okay, so after you activate the cloud shell, which I did at some point. Okay, then I want to what?
It shows up now.
yeah, it just shows up down here. Do you see a black
Mhm.
box with something look like this? If you've got that, that's where we're at.
A black
okay.
box that looks like that. Welcome to Cloud Shell.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, got it.
Okay, awesome. Because I just want to get, because we're going to be doing a lot of things in Cloud Shell, and we're going to be copying and pasting things out of this, you know, the creating an HPC environment page that you started. So scroll along, because you can see right here, we're going to test and make sure Cloud Shell is good for everyone. And so you can just grab this little.
I have a question. I don't have welcome to Cloud Shell, but I do have the black box at the bottom. Or at least showing something might be covering it.
No, that's good. That's
My
perfectly
left
fine.
panel is covering it.
Just resize your window. Does it repaint or does it redraw everything?
Are you on a Mac?
Yeah, but it still shows that I'm on a Windows.
If you
Okay.
hit Control minus in that window, it should shrink the screen and it'll start to display a little bit more. I know a lot of times I make my web browser larger, the text and things larger, so that like when I'm giving presentations and things. So
That didn't help.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay.
Go ahead and if others might be having it too. So let me stop sharing. Go ahead and share your screen if you don't mind, and we can. Is everybody enabled to share their screen, Jamie?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and share your screen because others might be having that same issue.
So what I'm doing is I have it set. Well, I had it set.
Okay, yeah. So go
Yeah.
up there on the little hamburger menu up in the top left. The hamburger one, the 3 lines up where it says Google Cloud Platform. The 3 lines.
Top left. There you
Yeah,
go.
just click on that and that makes that go away.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So now we need,
Excellent job. Excellent job.
I might need to show my screen because I'm not sure.
Okay, go for it.
Pretty, okay. Let's see, share screen.
This is why I didn't do a lot of slides. Didn't do a lot of slides in front of this, so we could make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
See?
You got that down there.
Yours is fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Perfect, Bob.
you're on a different screen up top, but we're going to do stuff in this Cloud Shell. If you want to get out of that, you can actually. You're looking at IAM admin menu, which is fine. We'll click on some other menu options, but you can change those menus at the top. But those menus at the top don't affect the Cloud Shell.
Okay.
So you know, so you can do stuff up there different from the Cloud Shell. So you're good.
Okay.
But
Thanks.
you want to get her back to the dashboard though?
Sure. Go ahead and
Up at the top, hamburger menu.
yeah, just
There you go. And go to
click
home.
home. Yeah.
Click what, home?
Yeah.
There you go.
And then click that hamburger menu again to make that menu go away. There you go.
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
All right. I have too many windows open. Takes me a second to find the right one.
I know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do is now on the Skill Boost page or the Quick Lab, but Skills Boost is where they posted this, or where you started the lab. Scroll down and you'll see where Jamie mentioned earlier, the Activate Cloud Shell. Below that, you're going to see these boxes, and these boxes with these stacked icons means copy and paste, just like you did over here with the username and password. And we're going to go through those just to make sure things are working right. So we're going to do a gcloud off list. You can type that if you want, or you can hit the old copy button. And then you can go over to this and click in the window and then do your paste commands. You can either do a right click paste, or you can do a,
Okay.
anyway.
Now you may get a window that says authorize Cloud Shell.
Please do that.
Just click authorize. Yep.
Yes, please authorize it.
Okay.
I missed what you did because I went to the other screen.
That's okay. So back here, you can just type it gcloud off list if you want in the box, or you can copy and paste the command. Some of the commands we're going to have to copy and paste because there's little scripts in there, but you can type that one.
So in the search button, type in,
Not search, down here in the bottom, down here, where I just typed down here, in the Cloud Shell.
in the Cloud Shell.
So
Okay.
that's a little black box. Yep.
Yeah. See where
That
I
little
typed
black box type.
gcloud off list, that little thing I got highlighted right here. Up here.
Okay, type gcloud off list. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Um,
Then it should tell you something similar to that, but different student ID. And it'll pop up and say authorize. Say, click authorize.
Got it.
Got it? All right.
Yep.
Okay. So you can also do gcloud config list project. So anything, there's this gcloud commands. You can do anything from gcloud commands. Anything up in the menus you can do from gcloud commands, and you can type in that little box if you're of the persuasion of liking to type versus, as one of my colleagues says, drag pictures, or use the GUI. And so you can do that. So we'll do that one real quick just to kind of see, but this is listing config.
Config list project.
Yeah, it tells you your active configuration. And it's really just examples of commands that they put in the quick labs.
Whoops.
And if you want to learn more, don't click on this now because we're not going to go into it.
Config. Oh, gcloud.
gcloud. And gcloud is a command that you send a bunch of options to, and you can do all kinds of stuff. The config list projects. We're going to list the project that's active.
The account in quotes, what are we supposed to put on a specific account or just type it as is?
For which? For the gcloud config list
Cloud
project.
config. Mm-hmm.
You just like that. And then it spits out your active project down here. And this is just kind of getting you used to the gcloud command. You don't have to remember that. You don't have to, it's just kind of getting you used to using the shell.
Oh, okay.
There is no homework on this. So now we're going to move down to the Google Cloud Project setup. So now we're going to do some of the menu options.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay.
So we should be, I see 8, okay. What'd you click on?
I'm just back here. So
Okay, I'm with you.
yeah, I'm just switching back and forth and showing the instructions and then going.
Okay.
That's how so we're going to do the Now we're going to pick the default database for the project because Google automatically assigns that. So I'm just going to go over here and type, and this is in the search box at the top, not in the thing at the bottom. Fires. I don't know why I copy and paste. Firestore. So type Firestore at the top. And then right there at the top menu option, it should say Firestore where my mouse is. We'll go ahead and click on that.
Well, and just click on Firestore.
Yeah, and you should be taken to a menu like this. That we're looking at the top now, not the shell.
Got it.
Okay. And then select native mode. So this sets up that default database for the project.
Got it.
And then you have to select the location. Let's choose United States. And then say create database.
They skip a step.
Create database. Takes a couple seconds to create that.
Can you go back a minute? When we put Firestore in the search bar, what did you say select after that?
Firestore.
Okay. Then next we did what?
And then now that I've already done
It's
Okay.
creating.
it, I'll show
Okay,
you.
thanks.
You got it?
I got it.
Select native, yeah. Select native is the key there.
So the under the Hamburg, so in the Google Cloud project setup, it says go to navigation menu under databases, select Firestore. It actually doesn't look like the databases selection is under the hamburger menu anymore. Just
It actually is. It's a heading. I said the same thing. So you got to click more products,
right.
scroll down, you see databases as a heading, and then you see Firestore.
Database migrate. Oh, Firestore itself is a heading. I got you. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's databases is kind of like a title for the section, and then Firestore is the, so that is the way to get there via the menu. Okay.
States.
Everyone good there? We got, it's got something like this where
Yep.
empty database. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
So now we're going to actually create project-wide SSH keys. So this command, I would recommend copying and pasting. And that bracket username, don't put your username in there. That actually tells Cloud Shell to just use the logged in username. So you want this command as is. So grab that, copy it to the clipboard.
So we get back to that by the instructions by clicking what? Let's see.
It should be in another tab or in another window. This is where you launched, you know, where you did the start lab and has the Google.
Yeah.
Login. It should, you scroll down till you see the section that says Google Cloud Project Setup, and that's the section we're in.
Mhm.
Are we back to the command window or the shell to type this SSH?
Yeah, we'll do the key SSH keygen exactly down here in. And I would say no for a passphrase, just because we're doing a little demo for this.
So just leave it empty.
Just leave it empty. It'll ask you again, leave it empty. And then you actually have the key.
Oh, crap. Okay.
Okay, I think I'm running a little behind. What was the first thing you did once you got on that particular screen?
Okay, so are you?
My screen is the same as yours.
Okay, you did the Firestore, and I'm onto you did the Firestore, and it says this, right?
Right.
Okay, and then I went back to the instructions, and this is where we're in this Google Cloud project setup, and we're creating a project-wide SSH key as the heading. And what we're doing is we're doing another console command, or another, Cloud Shell command, sorry. And we just need to type this command.
Okay, I got you.
Now, boy, would you show how you navigate back and forth between this, what's showing on your screen, and our,
So I have two different tabs is the way I have set it up. There are two different.
oh, you have two different tabs.
Yeah, or you could do it side by side if you wanted. Normally I would have it side by side, but since I'm sharing screens, it's easier just to switch between the two.
Hey,
So
boy,
what? Okay.
just as a possible solution, you may want to pull each tab out as two windows, put them side by side, and then reshare as your whole desktop. And that way you'll see that we'll be able to see the two screens side by side.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you'll see three screens because you'll see the Zoom screen as well that we have.
If you
Yeah.
have multiple, I'm thinking he likely.
That's what
has
I'm
a-
doing, and I'm flipping between three different screens. Your screen, the screen for the
Yeah.
instructions, and then the screen for the work.
Yeah, but my problem is I have a 50-inch TV as my monitor, and when I go
Ah, nice. I'm working off of a laptop, so this is rough.
I got you.
I'm drinking from the fire hose. If
Now,
we,
I'm a little jealous because I only have a 42-inch screen. So yeah, no, we can.
Create project wide.
How about
Oh.
I'm on the phone, Jamie?
Hey, how are you?
Oh, wow. You really, he's on the
laptop
phone
just-
trying to do it.
oh, wow.
My laptop just showed me a blue screen of death,
Oh,
Oh, no.
Hate when that
Yeah.
happens.
but I got a big notepad here. I'm okay.
Okay, so Boyd, in that case, one thing you may be able to do, I'm going to show it on mine, is you can actually go to advanced. So share, advanced, and you can go to share a portion of the screen.
Oh, I did not know there was an option. See, that's what I was asking earlier.
I couldn't,
Copy.
different tricks. So I can do this, and then I can take this, put it up here, and
Advanced
then,
portion of screen, perfect.
and then you can readjust it so that it's not like as huge. So
Yeah, that works.
Oh, yeah, that would be perfect. I will do that. Thank you for showing me
Not a
that. That's
problem.
wonderful.
I've never used that before, but I was like, there's gotta be something.
So thank you for finding that.
Not a problem.
Did anyone get something asking where to store the files?
No.
Oh,
I think I went left somewhere.
So you have to put that in as a G-Cloud command.
No, it's just as written. So
Just
this
as written,
is
okay.
actually a
So it
Linux.
gave me a shell prompt.
Excellent. That's perfect, Boyd.
I'm working on it.
That is.
When we get enter as phrase, what do we do?
Just hit enter to leave it.
Just hit
blank,
enter, okay. Thanks.
And you're gonna hit it one more time.
so how did you do that, Jamie? To get the side by side?
So what I did was of course, I took the two tabs out, put them physically, put them side by side. I have a large screen as well. By the way, that trick is you just get a 4K TV with a high def USB, high def HDMI. But anyway, and then once they were there, we went to share and advanced. So you click the share button.
Oh, okay, when you're sharing, okay.
Yes. And then the side note on that as well is, so you all heard music and things when you came in, but you saw the video. That's how I do that. I go to only share sound and I play music in the background. So that way we can talk and whatnot.
Yeah. Now, one thing I'm going to say for the hackathon is we do all this stuff in the projects for you already, and we set up Cloud Cluster, so you actually don't have to do any of this stuff. So you just, when we share a Google Cloud project for the hackathon, this stuff is already set up. But this is if you want to do it on your own or things like that.
Does that
So we're
help a little?
setting up the environment
Yeah.
for them to work in. Or
Yeah.
people. Okay.
Okay. Oh, gosh. What just happened?
Okay. So everyone created the key, or someone said that they asked them where to save the key.
Oh, gosh, key pair, generate public key pair.
This is Al. It says you selected the cloud Firestore mode, but here it asks choose select a location.
Oh, yeah, back on Firestore. Yeah. Select a location, choose the US one.
So I think it's the second one.
Yeah.
One of them says EU and the other one says US.
Then create database.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Missed that step somewhere.
No, that's good. I was scared. Keygen asked you where to save something. I was going, oh.
That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking. Oh, that's bad. That's bad. Okay, we can.
So now that, and it'll take a little while to create that database.
I see.
Yeah, and then you'll get this keygen. We'll go and do this keygen thing. And so the next step after you do the keygen is this is a gcloud command you can see here. This is probably so much easier to follow with two screens. Jamie, thank you for finding that feature. So this is another gcloud command, whereas this is just a Linux command. The SSH keygen is a Linux command. So we're going to grab just that keygen command. What this does is this takes that SSH key that was created by this keygen and automatically configures it as part of the project. When you launched Quick Labs, you get something called a project in Google, and that project is where all the IAM permissions that we talked about earlier and all the instances run in, and everything happens within that project. So project is kind of that key thing. So we're just going to paste that command as is in the Cloud Console, Cloud Shell Terminal, sorry. Show my age, calling it a console.
Enter same passphrase again.
So he just hit enter if you hit enter on the first one, if you're on the first keygen command.
Which one am I?
That's why more dishwasher brands recommend fast-feed platinum.
Empty or no, enter passcode phrase.
Just hit enter, Doc.
Just hit enter.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's going to ask you a second time. Just hit enter again.
Okay. Yeah, do it again. Got it. Okay. Now, I put in the gcloud command.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Take care, Al.
Yes, continue on, do well.
See you later, Al. He's already gone. I'm slow. Okay. So everybody got the key imported?
It says student 01. Quick Lab, something.
And
What does it
could-
say?
and
Try
we could-
running this command again after running some input instance.
You want to share your screen so we can see? Let's stop sharing.
Oh, sure. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can. Yeah, it says no host aliases. That's fine. So you're good.
Okay.
Says working updated. Yeah, so you're good. I got to go to. Ooh, it remembered the portion of the screen I shared. That's nice.
So is
So
the
now,
export? Because I'm trying to make sure I did the right one. We've only done 2 commands, right?
yeah, we did the SSH keygen
And the
then
G Cloud
the
config.
GCloud compute. Yeah.
Mhm.
And now we're actually going to go up here in the search bar, over here in the cloud, the top part of the Google Cloud, and you can type SSH, and you see this thing where it says SSH keys. And if you click on that, it'll actually show you that SSH key that we uploaded.
Okay, go in the search and do what?
Type in SSH. And you'll see where it says, right, do you see my pop-up menu or not? You should now because I'm sharing a portion of my screen.
Mhm.
SSH key.
Yep, click on that.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you should see something in there.
Yep, see it.
Okay, awesome.
Well, my window's too small. Hold on. Yes, I do see it.
Did you say to click on that?
To click on, I'm just letting everybody, the SSH.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just making sure everybody gets there. And
Okay.
if everybody's done, we can go to the next one. So now I showed you that IAM stuff in the beginning. And what we're going to do is create something called a service account. Now, inside of Google Cloud, you can create something called a service account that you can then give permissions to. And what we're going to do is we're going to give this service account all these permissions in these 2 boxes below. And what it does is then when we launch an instance, we can associate it with that service account. And that means that that instance then can do everything that service account has the permissions to do. So you don't have to log in every time to do everything. So it's a way to give a VM or that instance the ability to have permissions to do stuff inside Google Cloud. And it sounds complicated, but all we're going to do is copy 2 commands in and it's going to run. The script's going to do all the work for us. But just to show you, so the first little box here is just going to set up some variables. It's going to give the name. So there's this parentheses, get cloud config, get value project. That's going to say, do it to the project I'm running in. You don't have to remember that, but that's what that's going to do. And then we're just going to say, use the name Omnibond SA. And we're just going to use that as the service account name. So, and don't change it because everything else depends on that. So let's go ahead and copy that command. And again, that goes down here at the bottom in the Cloud Shell. And I'm going to paste that. I'm going to hit enter.
Looks good.
Okay.
After that was the 2 export commands.
Yes, exactly. We did the 2 export commands. And now this next set is we're going to give this service account, we're going to create the service account in this project, and we're going to give it network admin permissions. We're going to give it security admin permissions. We're going to give it IAM permissions. And we're going to give it all these permissions so it can do all the things like create all the instances and do everything else from within Cloudy Cluster. So we're going to copy and paste this create new service account thing, which is when you paste this in, it's going to execute all these commands, but all you have to do is paste that whole thing at once and it'll work. So I copied that with that box.
Oh, okay. Oh.
And I'm going to paste it. And don't hit Control-C in the middle of your paste or things will not work. I'll try that again. Somehow I hit the Control. Anyway, we won't talk about that.
Me new one?
And then the last one, you have to hit Enter after it does them all.
And from chat.
One more time, just to be sure.
Got 'em.
It should be scrolling by things and not kind of like it is on my window right now, just kind of scrolling by things.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to hit Enter again at the last command. I may have already done that.
Got it.
We're good if we got the prompt back, right?
Yeah, if you got the prompt back and it's not at the end of a line, you're good. If it looks like this with the
Yep.
yellow there, you're good. Now,
Looking
what's kind of
good.
cool, about Quick Labs, you can say, check my progress. And it'll actually go and see that it spot checks a couple things to make sure you did it right. It actually checks stuff. I found that out last night because I changed some things and it said, you did not do that. And I go, ooh, I didn't follow the instructions.
Where's check my progress?
You scroll down at the end of that box with all the stuff.
Oh,
Assessment completed.
Yeah.
Good.
And now we have Google Cloud ready to launch Cloudy Cluster.
Yay.
I have 39 minutes left in my lab.
Made it.
We made it this far.
Yeah.
So everybody good? They got the things scrolled by, and if you scroll up in your little Cloud Shell terminal, you see all these things that it did for you, where it associated the missions to the service account. And if we had a little more time, I'd go show you that in the console, but we can maybe do that if we have time at the end. So the easiest way to launch Cloudy Cluster is to go up to the search bar on the top section here and type Cloudy Cluster. And you'll see there's this marketplace heading.
Would you type a question mark?
Nope, I just said Cloudy Cluster.
Cloudy Cluster. Okay.
And then you'll see underneath Marketplace, there's something called Cloudy Cluster by Omnibond.
Got it.
Everyone see that? Once you see that, go ahead and click on it. And that should take you to this page.
what are we doing now?
That's okay. I'll go back. I'll do it again. I can do it again. You're going to go up here in the search bar, type for Cloudy Cluster, search for Cloudy Cluster. And then down here, you see under Marketplace, right there, it says Cloudy Cluster by Omnibond.
When I have a Cloudy. Under Marketplace.
Yeah, and then just click on that and that'll take you there. Everybody see this screen?
Yep.
Okay, then hit launch.
Hit launch.
And if you see an error like this, I'll tell you what to do.
Click to configure. You do not have sufficient permission to view this page.
Yeah, so what happens is, this is where if you had used the incognito window, you probably would not have seen this.
I don't see it. I use incognito.
Yep, so yeah. So what we have to do is, even though you're logged in as this, it still thinks you're logged in as someone else. So what I always do is switch to someone else.
Switch to someone else.
So that I switch to someone else up at the top right-hand corner.
Okay. That little,
And then switch back. Don't forget to
switch to somebody.
yeah, like your main Gmail account or something.
Okay, got it.
And then you have to switch back to the student.
And then switch back to the student.
And you'll see I have my first one, my second one, and my third one. But when my third one comes back up, as the student, I have permissions.
Okay, switch accounts. Student, select.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to close those other two so I don't get confused. So in the end, you want to be logged back in as the student.
Yes.
And see this page.
Okay, this page.
Yeah, I had a panic Thursday night when I got that error, and it took me a while to figure it out with some help of others.
Yeah.
Marketplace. To view this page, select a project.
Yep, that's where you are.
So there's only one project here. I guess I'll select it.
But hey, hold on for a moment. He's gonna step us through this.
Oops.
Yeah, so down here, you got
I'm where he is, so I got that.
Okay, good. So the one thing you want to see is the N1 and the N1 standard one. Now, the one thing Quick Labs does is you're only allowed so many instances and so many vCPUs. If you go over those, they lock your account and shut you down. You don't get to try again. So they're like, because they don't want people up here mining Bitcoin in Quick Labs. So if you do something, they just lock you out, and then you have to go, please help me, type of stuff. So that's why it's very important to select the options that are in the menus over here on the left that are in the instructions. But notice we have the defaults set to that for this page. And the one thing you want to check is this allow Cloudy Cluster to use the scope script. And then we have to go get the scope script. Scope script. Now, getting this, because it switched out and switched back, usually, and I should have thought about copying and pasting first, we're going to have to go get this.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's is going to be a little bit different because the project name is going to be different. Okay, so you need your, so we can either type it, which might be the easiest way. So I'm going to go omnibond-sa at Quick Labs.
Scope script created.
Yeah, that's that one we ran the script and it created it. And if it wouldn't have switched windows on us, we could have copy and pasted it out of the Cloud Shell. But now we're going to type it in. And
so if we were copying it, where would it be?
do you see
For
in
those
the,
that didn't have to switch out?
if you see in your Cloud Shell a line that starts with omnibond-sa at Quick Labs and ends with gsaserviceaccount.com, then you can copy and paste it. It's kind of like the thing that's
I
popping
see
up.
gserviceaccount.com, gservice account. I am GS.
Yeah, and it starts with omnibond-sa.
I don't know. There's an Omnibond before it, but it's two different lines.
Is it
All right,
wrapped
see
or
this.
is it?
So there's a service account : and it's Quick Labs dash blah, 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 with the gserviceaccount.com at the end. Omnibond,
Could you
okay.
put that in
I
chat?
do see one. Omnibond,
Yeah, so the
something with
problem
G
is,
service at the end.
so the problem is that Quick Labs -GCP. So you can see on my screen, or you can see in the instructions, Omnibond SA at Quick Labs.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and you see the -GCP-04. If you notice, everyone's project is different. So that 04 section will be different, and it should be what you have at the top of your blue screen up here. Quick Labs -GCP-00.
04. Okay, okay.
I see I'm 8F, y'all will be something different. So we got to type that mess in. That's why copying and pasting it is really nice.
Could you put that in chat?
I can't because yours is different.
No.
So
Okay.
it's not accepting.
Omnibond dash
SA
SA
Okay.
at Quick Labs -GCP
got that.
and then up at the top of your screen where it says Google Cloud Platform,
Yes.
there's where you see that Quick Labs -GCP some numbers.
Oh, got it. Got it.
You have to type that in because that's specific to you. And don't hit
Okay.
enter after you do that, because then you got to put the standard thing at the end. I can.
B6 A 029953. Okay, I got that. And then you said something else I need to put after that.
And then if you look over at the instruction page.
Okay, instruction page. Let me get back to the instruction page. Boom. Okay.
The iam.gservice account.com.
Gotta find that.
And what I can do is I'm going to paste 2 lines in chat.
I don't see it in the instructions, but I copied mine from the command, so it had all of that on it.
Yeah.
Set up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a
Gotta find out where
screenshot
we are.
in the instructions, so it doesn't help very much.
Oh.
It's more of what to type. Yeah.
Okay.
This is where the incognito window is.
I see it. I see it. I couldn't see it at first. I have my
Okay.
so I couldn't see it. Okay.
So what comes? Oh shoot! What just happened? Get me off of that.
I'm going to make sure I typed it right.
Jamie put it in the chat.
Jamie put it in the chat.
Mhm.
Good. Chat. So we just grab what comes after that number.
Mhm.
Yeah, the dot.
The IAM.
You got to put the dot
I
in.
got it. Okay. I'm with you.
Don't forget the dot.
I'm with you. Mm.
And then double check it, make sure the numbers match your project above and everything. Otherwise, we'll be back at this page again. This is the homework part of the assignment.
Okay, now do we just hit an enter or
No,
just leave
no,
it there?
we're not done yet. So now
Okay,
you see
gotcha.
this
I got
service
it in
account.
here.
Yeah, so great. So this service account API permissions, make sure that's checked.
Got it.
The image customization mode, leave that unchecked. That will make that's if you want to add software, you launch it in that mode, but Cloudy Cluster doesn't come up. Then you have to save it again and launch Cloudy Cluster again. We're not adding software, so don't launch it into image customization mode.
Got it.
And then everything else is the same. We're going to leave the default network address, allow HTTP and HTTPS traffic. The only other thing you got to check is this I accept.
Got it.
And then say deploy.
Deploy. Yay.
And this launches what's called the control instance. And this will give us, we've got about 5 minutes so people can catch up. Takes about 3 to 5 minutes for this node to spin up, self-configure, automatically configure SSL certs, and then bring up the GUI. And I'm going to run down the hall while we have a stopping second. And I will be right back.
We got a 5-minute break.
Yeah, 3 to 5 minute break, but I'm worried about this 26-minute end of lab thing I've got. I hope you all have more time than I do. So yeah, make it a real quick 5 if you got it. Not
No
6.
problem. The coffee pot is close.
I'll be back in a sec.
Deployed. Wonderful. And so if anyone has any questions, please let me know. I'm actually going to go ahead and hit pause.
Amy,
now.
does it say activating free trial when you deploy it?
Let me see here. Mine says has been deployed, actually.
Okay. Does anybody else say activating free trial?
Oh, at the top right-hand corner, are you still logged in as your student account?
Let me make sure.
In the console itself, so on the Google Cloud platform.
Mine has been deployed also.
Yeah, I see on my student
Okay.
account.
Okay, good. Yeah, you should be able to just click. So click on Cloudy Cluster and then click Run. And then it should take you to that configuration window.
The one you just did?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I've done all that and I clicked on deploy.
Oh yeah, then you're good to go. You
Okay,
should have the window that Boyd's is showing right now is what you should see.
that's what I see.
Okay, good. Yeah, then you're good to go. All right, Boyd. So just to let you know, on my account, I see 24 minutes, Boyd.
No, it's going to be close. I might ask the Quick Labs people to add an extra 15 minutes to this when we do these classrooms.
Select admin URL link. Yep.
Okay. So if you click on this, I don't know if everyone's back yet, on this admin URL, it actually pops up this thing into another tab. And if you click on this next one, I do a right click, open in new tab.
Under instance VM.
Yep, instant VM.
Failed to load. Okay, so this is why we need to use incognito mode.
Yep.
There we go. Okay. All right, is everyone back and ready to hit it?
Ready?
All righty.
So the first thing you want to do is click on this admin URL, and it brings up, should take you to this page.
Click on admin URL.
Yeah.
And URL, so we're on top right.
Okay. Okay, see it.
Now the next one's gonna be a little interesting for you.
Oh boy.
Well,
I missed what you just said. What did you say, do?
If you click on, do you see this page?
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of.
Wait a
Okay.
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Do I see that page? So that's on this. Is that on the instruction page? Okay.
So sorry, no, when you clicked on admin URL, it popped up a new tab, and that new tab will tell you to to authorize or log into Cloudy Cluster. And this is
Okay.
the control instance.
Go back to that
Okay.
admin URL thing. Can you go back?
Right here, right here.
Right here, right here, right. Oh, wait a minute.
On the right.
On the
underneath
right,
where it says
Admin
below,
URL. Okay, I'm not seeing that. I see another something, but let me look for that.
well, if you want to share your screen, we can.
Okay. Come on, share screen. You see me?
Okay, yeah, what it didn't,
Oh, shoot. Wait a minute. I just did something dumb. Okay.
so I think what happened there is it didn't, there's probably something that's typed wrong in there.
Oh, so I got to go back to that. Let me see.
So-
Go
so-
back.
Okay. So
That's the
let's try this one.
one.
Yeah, now you have to go back to this, and this is that part.
Scroll back
and
up, Doc.
just Scroll
Huh?
up.
Scroll up.
All right, so there. So underneath that little machine type, and then you have the little blue squares, the little stack of squares, and underneath that you have script created essay. Yes, go ahead and click there.
Click here.
Yes, ma'am. And go ahead and type in Omnibon.
So that's what I clicked in.
Oh, okay. All right, hang
No,
on.
no.
Let's double check it.
I copied it just because I figured I had to come back.
Yeah, this here, quick labs dash UCP dash 00 dash 54B.
Is that a D or a 0? Is that a D2? I think it's a D29. I can't. Up at the top, which
99
Up here?
530. Let me see that again. So 54B is in Bravo, 6 Alpha 0 299 That looks right to me. .iam.
So Jamie, look at the top and see
Oh,
the
no.
zero.
I see a problem. Wait a minute. Do I see a problem? Google service.
I spelled Quick Lab wrong.
Yep.
Oh, there it is. Yeah,
Yep.
you got a QW. That's right.
How dare you try to use proper spelling? So then under that.
And don't forget to
LABSPUIK. Got it. Okay.
now click the allow Cloudy Cluster to use the scopes, and then scroll down. Keep scrolling and just say I accept.
And deploy. Oop, not quite yet. There you go.
Okay. I'm with you.
Let's see.
Good stuff.
Now I've got to sit through this 2-minute deployment.
Yep.
Pending URL. All right, can't speak for anybody else, but I'm sitting at 17 minutes.
Yeah, so let's go ahead.
Go ahead, Jet. I'll be with you. Okay.
Go ahead and okie doke. So now, do people have this console? Or sorry, console. You keep using that word. This
Dr.
tab.
Harmon, stopping your share.
Yes, actually.
There we go.
So we have, if you click on the admin URL, which is up here in the upper right corner, you should get a page that looks like this. And then if we go and click on the Cloudy Cluster VM, which is below the admin URL, it'll actually, and if you don't open in a new tab, it'll keep you logged in, right? And down near the bottom, there's something called a startup key. And what you want to do is copy and paste, copy that startup key.
paste it in.
It's spinning, so should it be doing that for a long period of time?
Which thing's spinning?
The second one you told us to click.
So you don't see the screen?
Nope. It's just spinning at that point where I clicked it. Were we supposed to log into the Cloudy Cluster?
No, this is, what I'm giving you is, this is the key to log into Cloudy Cluster, because
Yeah, it's spinning.
well, here, let me jump back and help you in a sec. So for those that grab the startup key that have it, paste that in this screen, and then hit next. And then fill in your default user information for Cloudy Cluster, so you can get going there. But go ahead and share your screen when you're the one that's spinning. So deployment manager is still spinning. Yeah, I don't. What happens if you reload that page? Then you click on the VM instance again.
Right here, right?
Yep, right there. Yeah, this is a Google console thing. So go up to the hamburger menu over on the far left top corner. And let's go to Compute Engine. We're going to cheat. We go to VM instances up there at the top. Click on that and see what happens. Okay, now click on that Cloudy Cluster VM in the name. Yeah, click on that. Okay, now scroll all the way to the bottom. You see that key, grab that key and paste that into the Cloudy Cluster. Just a double click and just get it all for you. Yeah, paste that in there. Doc, are you to this page yet?
Sure.
Okay, now go ahead and put your first name, last name, pick a username you want.
Okay.
And everybody can do that same thing.
Stop sharing.
And I don't think we're gonna have enough time to finish spinning up Cloudy Cluster, but we'll see. Share my screen. So there, I'm gonna do that, void. Make sure you pick a password that has a couple, a secure, it makes you have a little bit of something secure. It'll yell at you if you don't, and then hit next. And what this does is in Cloudy Cluster, it'll create this user and kind of make it the admin user of your Cloudy Cluster environment. And then you should get this screen. And I'm going to check my progress over here just because I did. And then we've done that, and now we're here. So if everyone's to this page, you click on Overview, and we're to this HPC environment setup. Now what we're going to do now is we're actually going to set up, what we did so far is set up Google Cloud, set up the Cloudy Cluster control node, which is really the UI and everything that lets you do everything else, add users and do those types of things. And now we're going to create the HPC environment by clicking, I'll do that again, go to overview, click on the plus sign up at the top. And then if you, in the doc, you can see that environment name, make sure you call it ENV and AME. And then choose the student key, because that's that key we created earlier. Billing labels optional. That'll tie it into the billing system for stuff with this. And what we'll actually do is we're going to spin up a Slurm cluster and we're going to use the test sizing.
Oh, what's terrible is you can't click the check my progress until it's actually spun up.
Yeah. For which part? The
So under the part you're on now, where you're actually setting it up. So now at the bottom, after you hit the create environment,
yeah.
And you have to wait the roughly 15 minutes. Yeah, when you click that, the env name has to be there in order to complete it.
That's right. So under this section right here, N1 standard 1, it is the default now with the latest release. So you can actually take all the defaults here and hit the next little arrow to the right. Do a final review. This tells you what it's going to get created for you. It's also going to tell you the cost running, 20 cents an hour. And that's just this environment. When you launch jobs, they cost extra. It's just this environment. And if you stop it with all the storage, but you want to come back later and you don't want to have to set it up again, you can use the stop button, and that's the stop cost. So it's like 5 cents an hour. And the last part you have to do is grab this 0.0.0.0/0. And that's really where you can access it from. And if you want to have production lockdown data, you'll probably not choose that. But for the quick labs and training, we'll do that. And then we'll say create environment. And now we have 15 minutes of my 9 minutes waiting. So we'll see what happens first.
And it only puts us at 50% of it. And I'm guessing you can't. Are we able to use our credits to continue it, or will we have to start over?
So you have to start over when you use those credits. Second time through should be faster for y'all. Okay. And what we can do while this is spinning up, I can show y'all. It'll spin up, it'll turn green. There's a little video that kind of talks about all the stuff that happens behind the scenes. That's usually what I would talk about now. Well, let's go to what we're going to do for the last part of this. You would get the GUI and you'd actually go to the Access tab. I'm going to leave it here spinning up. And under the Access tab, after the environment spun up, you actually have an Open On Demand link. And so Open On Demand, and it's actually, I think, at the top in the version, we moved it up at the top to make it easier. We have to update the screenshot with Google. But Open On Demand will bring up Open On Demand, which was developed, NSF funded, developed by Ohio State Supercomputing Center, Virginia, and University of Buffalo. It's kind of the brainchild of OSC. And it gives you a graphical environment into HPC. And we were going to go into that, try SSHing. We were going to copy sample jobs to the parallel file system. And then we were going to edit one of the sample jobs going into, the home directory using the GUI, and you could actually go in and edit from within it. And then we would add this command to the job script. And then we were going to uncomment these sections in the job script and change that to a 2. And we were going to change it to number of nodes 1, number of tasks per nodes 2. So it's going to spin up one node to run MPI prime, because that kind of runs into those node limits. Normally you'd run multiple nodes. And then here's what it would look like fully edited. That's hard to read, but you can click on your own docs and see that. And then we would compile it. And then we'd actually launch it. And then about 3 or 4 minutes later, it would complete. And you'd run an HPC job. You have a fully operational HPC environment. The rest of it after this stuff and kind of getting around some of the login stuff and things is actually pretty straightforward and easy. And then it does show you how to delete it. You can delete the environment. And the one thing I always want to point out when you're deleting it, there's an option under administration that says remove control instance and database. So after you've deleted your HPC environment, you want to click remove control instance and database, because it actually then deletes the control instance, which runs the UI, and then it actually deletes the database that Firebase set up. You know, we set up Firebase and then we created data in there, and that actually deletes that Firestore data. So you don't have it sitting around. It doesn't cost very much, but it's always good to clean house in the cloud. So does anybody have a full green?
I have utility and network, but I'm still waiting for us.
So I'm kind of curious if we get an extra 5 minutes, or if they actually, you know, take us down at 5. So we'll let it run.
I feel like it's a race.
Yeah.
I at least want to be able to check the button. That's all I want. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Excuse me,
No.
board. While you all are waiting, can I ask a question?
Yeah,
With
please
regards
do.
to, is
You want- you want-
Omnivon free to educational to the universities?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Is this the clouded cluster free?
So it's not free. But that said, if you're going to use it in the classroom, and if you want to use Quick Labs in the classroom, Google will give you credits. So using this in the classroom through Quick Labs is no charge, because you can go get credits from Google for Quick Labs if you're an academic institution. If you're actually a faculty member,
Yes.
I think you can get like 5,000 credits for Quick Labs, and you can teach this and other things. And what I'm going to do is go back and say, you know, this works fine for someone going through individually, but from a classroom setting, you get, you know, trying to keep everybody in sync. We need another. This is a 2-hour class for a classroom setting, just because, you know, we want to make sure everybody gets through it.
The reason I'm asking, I was thinking, it's a tool that could be used. I teach an operating systems graduate class, and this environment could allow them to set, like I said, this environment, they could do a project, and they could, once the environment got established, they could do a project using a high performance computing environment.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's correct. And they can do, and we're working on new Quick Labs. So what Jamie was kind of getting to earlier is, if, you know, the next lab we want to do is we're going to actually have it automatically spin up the cluster for people, and then they can go in and do other things with it. So they don't have to go through all the steps we went through. We want to automate all that and drop you right into the clusters up and running. Now copy a sample job, do a bioinformatics job, or do something else.
Yes,
So,
I take an application in their data set, et cetera, and
Yeah.
manipulate it.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it up. I got all green.
Okay.
I made it.
So share your screen and quickly go through the rest of it so we can see it. Now it's a race.
So the problem is, as soon as I go to access,
You can
yours are all green.
But it's still validating the instances.
Oh, okay.
But
So
we
let me,
can see what happens. But you can still finish the lab. You just don't get the credit for saying completed this portion.
So yeah, but the problem is, as soon as I go to access, it's still spinning actually.
Oh, it's still spinning. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Wait, can I get to it now? I might be able to get to this now. Nope, not quite yet.
No.
I had to try it.
Oh.
That's what it's all about, trying.
But yeah, if you want to use this in the classroom setting, we're more than willing to help you. And yes, you know, through Quick Labs and everything, we want everybody to be trained on this. So yeah, that's all free.
I can contact you, right?
Yeah, you just reach out to me. Let me know.
If you want to, Jamie, I'm sorry, I'm kind of juggling a lot of stuff, but Jamie, if you'll send her my email address, and if you email me, I can talk to you offline and we can get you going with it.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
So Dr. Hunter, and I'll go ahead and put that in there now. If I remember correctly, it's amy@omnibond.com, right?
Jamie, can you email me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, I will. I'll do that right. Actually,
Thank you. I'm
add
sorry, I'm
both
just
to it.
juggling a few things at once, so I can't do it.
That is not a problem at all, Amy. We understand. Let's see if it down to 44 seconds, boy.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna make it.
Does anyone have it fully solid green? There's like a light green and then there's a solid green and it's not spinning.
Is your screen the way it should look? What we're looking at?
No, it's not. Mine's not done yet. So I'm hoping I'm hoping someone's further than mine is and has more time. I guess maybe if someone started a little bit later. Well, actually, you know, it stopped at 28 seconds. Did yours stop at 28 seconds, Jamie?
It's still spinning. Mine is.
No,
So-
I meant your timer on your lab.
Oh, no. I'm down to 13 seconds now.
And then did they say how? Yeah, I'm done.
It's gone.
Are you satisfied? Now don't rate it 1 because it timed out. I'll get that fixed because you know you can not rate it or rate it a 5. No kidding. Quick Labs people like their ratings. They'll fuss at me.
A bit more time would be good. Would be helpful. There we go.
Yeah, it's about 1 o'clock. So yeah,
But the side note is, I mean, you have 4 more credits.
Yep.
And so you can go back in and redo it on your own at your own leisure. So, and I mean, if you want to skip, you can skip to the job scripts and using CCQ and whatnot as other courses and things.
Right. And for the hackathon, we actually have projects created and a cloudy cluster environment will be created. So you can actually do part of that if you're doing the hackathon in that. We just need to make sure we assign a team to a project to let us know what team you are, and we'll assign you to that project if you want to try this ahead of time before the hackathon. And then that one won't time out. that one's there. And Google gave us actually, you know, real credit to run things there, but not real, but you know, lab credits versus real Google Cloud credits. So we can get you started with that as well anytime this next week before the hackathon.
So there was a question from Jackie.
Yeah.
Do we have to undo what we have done, or does it just go away?
It'll eventually go away. What's interesting is it timed out, but it's still running. It hasn't pulled the rug out from underneath me yet.
So in the case of these quick labs, it automatically deletes itself and things like that because it's a lab.
Yes.
In the case of actually doing these on the actual Google platform, so while we're working on the hackathon, or if you have your own project that you start, of course, they'll remain there until you remove them. But the side note is there is a charge that goes along with it, of course, with running cloud resources. Even if you've received research credits, then it's going to be charged against those research credits. Or if you have your credit card there and you don't have research credits already there, then it will charge your credit card because, of course, it's a business. It's Google. They need money. I said need money, right?
Yeah, I mean, they can't do it for free. Oh, there. So it's in the background deleting everything because it's a quick labs, like Jamie said. But yeah, again, it's a good point, Jamie, in a real environment. And this is probably gone now. Yeah, so it's all gone.
But again, it's gone because
Quick Labs.
lab is a quick lab.
What I wanted to do is show you something. Let me. Well, it's time to end anyway. We're 1 minute till. But yeah, if anyone wants us to go through it with them, you know, we're more than happy again. I was trying to, I had an environment in the background, but we're out of time. So but thank you all, and sorry we didn't make it all the way through it in time.
Thank you.
That's not a problem. I mean, the thing I do want to say to everyone, those quick lab credits. So if you sign up for a quick lab account, they actually give you a certain amount of credits for free as well. When I signed up, they actually gave me, I think, a month where I could access anything on their system. And when you're accessing Google platform, if you notice, it gave us a username and password to log into it. That's because we're using the real Google Cloud platform. It's not a sanitized version, or like with Azure, when you use education credits, Microsoft Azure, it is a sanitized version of Azure. With Quick Labs, you are actually using Google Cloud. So if your students set something up and figure out how to make something work, they could then create their own true account and do the exact same thing, see the exact same screens, and it will work the same way. So let's keep that in mind. Quick Labs is a very powerful tool. I'm pretty amazed that that Google did that.
Yeah. Well, and it was actually another company did it, and then Google bought them. So it was actually kind of good. Anyway, but yeah, and they're great to work with. And if people have other data science or other things they'd like to see on top of HPC as course content for these Quick Labs, let us know, because we're looking for what other things to put on top of this to make actually they have these curriculums in Quick Labs where you can actually have, okay, now here's how you spin up a cluster. Okay, you don't have to do that again. Here, just launch your environment and then do some data science thing. You know, I wanted to show you how you could spin up it. You know, you just click on a button, you get a Jupyter lab session running, you know, through Cloudy Cluster. Then you can interact with it, hit save to the home directory and other things. And anyway, but thank you all for coming. Thank you for sticking through the time.
And I'm going to ask, I did this last time, but with everybody in mind, if you're in so comfortable, if you're in such a place, would you mind turning on your camera so we can get a picture? We're not in person. And so we want to prove to our sponsors and things that we are here, that we're using their money in a very good way. So if you wouldn't mind taking a moment to turn on your camera so we can take a quick picture. I know it's Saturday. I know it's Saturday. I know you are ready to go. If you just take one moment and turn on your cameras. Thank you everyone for doing that. Dr. Caldwell, Dr. Doswell, Abdullah, Elwood, well, Dr. Jones, sorry, Amy, Dr. Hayden. Thank you all so much. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm getting my screen capture ready. All right, now remember, I always have to say this. I'm gonna get myself in frame. We're good. Oops. All right, you wanna look at your camera. You don't wanna look at you, you wanna look at the camera. All right, thank you so much. All right, I'm gonna take a picture of 1, 2, 3. All right, one more time because I actually clicked on 2. All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you again. Thank you for coming. For our hackathon persons, we will be seeing you on Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time, for our kickoff and our draft that will actually be hosted by John. We're looking forward to seeing you. As always, if there's any questions, please let us know. Of course, join the Discord. Make sure we are there. We're monitoring it. We'll be glad to assist you in any way we can. And this video will soon, as well as this morning's video, which has already been processed, but I'm taking care of the page. will soon be available on our YouTube channel as well. If you'd like more information about the hackathon, if you look right up above me, let me see, aim up and change the fingers. There we go. At hackhpc.github.io/admi22. The full schedule is there. Please feel free to go and take a look. And even if you're not a part of the hackathon, on Monday, April 4th at 6 p.m. Eastern, we will have our final presentations, and there will be an active YouTube live streaming link there where you can see what these teams come up with. So beyond that, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and y'all have a good day.